the idea of see, again, one of the most difficult things, like you spoke about, is to say that yes, now I accept this is the situation. Let's move forward from here. So that's where the essence of eternal optimism comes in. Take this to your experience with founders. And from your personal learnings, if you have to now give some advice to these young founders who are facing failure for the first time in their lives, maybe, and perhaps at that point I'm realizing that, oh, everything is lost. But hardly do they realize that that's their first failure.
Absolutely.
And they'll have several more.
Yeah.
How and where and what advice would you give to these founders, basis your experience, to recalibrate the mindset to say that the best thing in life at times to happen is to reach that bottom of the barrel moment and recognize it?
Yeah, I think this is a very pertinent question, especially in the current environment, because we are seeing a lot of this happening, right? I mean, founders struggling, companies struggling. It's exactly this, that whatever I said till now, whatever you said till now, is failures are a part of life. It depends on how you look at them. And especially where founders are concerned, I think they just need to look around them and they'll see enough and more examples of founders failing many times and then suddenly just hitting jackpot and doing so well for themselves. So in life, you have to take failure as a learning, as something from where you have to learn, you have to feel those emotions, take a break, deal with it. You have to feel it. You can't just be in denial and move on. You have to feel it, get up and get going again. That's the only way you can deal with life. I mean, even today when I think of all the major problems I have faced, my family has faced, or even you have faced, my friends have faced, I feel the only reality in life is these problems just keep coming. There is no end to them, and I have learned to accept that. Be happy in spite of them, in spite of these problems, these failures, and find reasons to be happy in little things, little events in your life. Accept failure, learn, get up, move on. I think that's the only way to survive.
True.
There is.
What
are your thoughts on this?
See, I think
you also see so
yeah,
many.
I think there are two mindsets, right? One is you don't have an option but to be an eternal optimist, because if you're building something, you have gone outside the usual regular course of downside protection. You know that there is no safety net other than your lifeboat.
Yeah.
And your lifeboat is, again, as we discussed, there could be people, there could be family, there could be perceptions, there could be your mindset. But when you have that mindset to say that you have to be eternally optimist, the other bit that you have to factor in also is to say that, can I celebrate the small joys, the small success? A lot of people, in their long-term vision of trying to build something very large, they lose out on the small moments of joy. And I actually learned this from Archana. I used to have this mindset. You laugh. I used to have this mindset because I come from a background which is middle class. And I keep saying this, it's a very funny cusp zone, because you're neither poor that you're hopeless, and you're definitely not rich, so you don't have anything. So you're in this ever aspirational zone when you're growing up. Your mindset is to qualify from the two-wheeler to the four-wheeler, to get to that next level, because you don't have enough. And you're always trying to build things in, right? And that's where a lot of hacks of jugaad, mindset, ability to do things, hustle, which we'll talk a little in detail later. But all of these come inside you. What that also does is it takes away from you the power of emotion. It makes you very stoic.
Yeah.
And when you become so stoic, you realize that you're just focused on that goal so much that you've forgotten the entire journey. You've forgotten those milestones that you covered in the journey. You've forgotten those achievements that you managed. I'll give a small example. There are a lot of achievements that I'm very proud of, but I'll give a tangible achievement because, a lot of people understand when they see an achievement as against emotional achievements of building an organization. So when I was growing up, for me, the whole thought process of having a four-wheeler was very aspirational. Again, I also come from the eastern part of the country, and one of the things there that you see with certain family members who have really arrived is that they would have a four-wheeler in the form of a Mercedes-Benz. And that was the epitome of having a four-wheeler, because East May, Mercedes always had the bigger boy status compared to the other two German comparatives, while I know you're an Audi fan. But the whole thought process was that if you've reached there, you've arrived, and that is the end all. So from childhood in my mind, I had the thing that one day I will go across and own it.
Right.
And I kept with that aim in life during my early days, during my hustle days, during my law firm days, to even when I started Vertices 7 years ago. My vision and my aim was very clear that I want to build and someday own it. To say that you've harvested a dream like this for 20 odd years means that when you achieve that dream, it's supposed to be life-changing.
Yeah.
I still remember, I achieved that dream 5 years ago. I went and bought that car. I drove that car from the showroom to the house, and my emotion for that car was over. And suddenly I realized that now I need to think about what next. So I did not celebrate that moment. I did not enjoy that moment. I did not let that moment settle in. And this is a tangible example I'm giving because a lot of people mark success basis what you can see. So there's so many things that I would not celebrate because for me it was always that larger goal. And that's one day when, Archana told me that you're going to lead a very unhappy life.
Yeah.
If you continue to be stoic the way you are, because stoicism beyond a point also becomes your biggest lead sinker.
Yeah.
And that's the day I realized that the smallest of joys need to be celebrated. The smallest of successes need to be celebrated. The smallest of milestones need to be celebrated. So my view, again, if I have to discuss this, because I've been blessed to advise so many founders, I've been blessed to work with so many investors. I always say that no matter what that small milestone is, celebrate it. It's a win. Because trust me, tomorrow there's a loss. And you have to deal with that loss. So mental sanity to deal with that failure has to be there for you to celebrate this moment. So a lot of people lose that out.
I'm a big one for celebrating. My kids get irritated. They're like, enough. For everything, I'm like, oh, we have to celebrate this, every small thing. So I'm totally someone who really, but yeah, that also came with age. I wasn't.
I think we are all very ageist now. I think the good part about this podcast, I keep saying this.
I love saying it has come with age.
Yeah, I know. Even though mentally you're 25 years old.
I am.
Yeah. Mentally I'm 50. But I think the good part of 40 something sitting together and talking is there's actual experience, there's actual depth, and hopefully we've done something in life to be able to share. Unlike a lot of other examples of podcasts which is around the country right now where people are talking about a lot of things without actually achieving. So for me, the essence of this is to get true achievers. I want to discuss two very important things, but I don't want to discuss it here. I want to discuss in that beautiful terrace garden of yours because, you have a flamboyant garden. And I come from a lovely city called Mumbai where, the size of your cabins and your bathrooms are sizes of our 1 BHKs there. So let's enjoy that garden. Let's take that there. But let's pick up on two very interesting traits. The power of Jugaad and the essence of hustle. Are they interconnected? Are they overrated? Or are they underestimated?